You're listening to localwebradio.fm. Community-minded, locally focused.
Are you a hardworking business owner striving for success online? There is help. Welcome to the School of Internet Marketing podcast, featuring candid conversations and inspiring stories of online success. Now here's your host.
Hello, I hope that everybody is having a great day. As always, I am your host, Nick Jaworski, and today I will be continuing my discussion with James Martell, founder of the School of Internet Marketing and VP of Product Development for jambMEDIA. Today's topic, how to satisfy Google's insatiable appetite for fresh, interesting, and relevant content and dominate the search results for keywords that matter to you most. Now, before James joins us, just a reminder that if you have questions or require assistance, you can reach James's team at jambMEDIA and the School of Internet Marketing at 604-542-0747 and on Facebook at facebook.com/GoGreatMinds. James Martell has taught tens of thousands of business owners how to effectively market their businesses online through his ebooks, courses, live trainings and webinars, podcasts, and speaking engagements. James, as always, it's great to be talking with you.
Hey, Nick. Good to be back.
All right, now, we've got a lot to talk about, so let's get right into it. And back in episode 3, we talked about how Google will award you with high rankings and send you traffic if you focus on 5 things. And the 5 things all had in common this one concept, which was content. Content quality, content frequency, variety, distribution, popularity. But perhaps we're putting the cart in front of the horse by not actually defining what we mean by content. And since you're the expert, could you please just tell us, what do we mean when we say content?
I do recall way back in 1999 getting started online and being basically dropped down in front of a computer with the task to write an article. And I remember thinking back at that time, okay, that's an interesting idea. We'll do that. And looking back to that era, the internet was primarily one form of content, and that was basically text. There was the odd image, but my goodness, you sure had to think about clicking on it because it was going to take 5 minutes to open because it was just so slow.
Right.
So content in today's environment is text, such as an article or a blog post. It could be an audio, video, could be a photo, could be a map, maybe an illustration. So anything that we're looking at, usually typically reading, listening to, or watching, you could put into the under the heading of content.
Okay, now, obviously, if you want to have a website, content is important just to have a reason to have a website. But in terms of searching and SEO or all this other stuff, why is content just so important?
We always hear this saying, and I'm sure listeners have probably heard it. I know you've heard it. I've heard it ad nauseum for years and years and years, that content is king. And it's kind of an interesting statement, and I guess it's really not a cliche, because in many ways it's true, but it's really even an understatement, because I think we talked about in a few episodes, or a few episodes ago, that I was heading off to a conference and had a chance to speak on a good portion of this topic to an audience of about 350 people over the weekend. And I had a great little slide, if I might say, that one of our graphic designers put together for us. And basically it was a map of the world, and it had everybody's IP address lit up on the map, and anybody and everybody who's got an IP address on the planet. Quite interesting. And basically what I had done is, I if you can imagine looking at this map, and it's just covered in, of course, North America's quite a bit busier than, say, Africa, and then Canada, and you've got the UK, and you've got Asia, Australia, all of the continents of the world, all lit up. And then I said, what would happen if we were to take away all of the videos from the internet? And I clicked the mouse, or clicked the button, and the map faded a little bit. And then what would happen if we took away all the photos? It faded a little bit more. All of the images and illustrations, a little bit more. What would happen if we took away all of the audio? Click. And of course all of the text. Well, next thing you know, we had a big black screen.
Right.
With literally nothing showing on it. And Essentially, if you were to remove all of the content from the internet, what would we have? We would have a very large network of empty computers.
Right.
And this is actually the problem most business owners have with the internet. They say, "Well, I got an internet problem because I don't have any customers calling or no new leads." And it's not really that they have an internet problem; it's they've got a content problem. And this is why content is so important, because content is king. But actually, content is it's everything. Without content, you don't have an online footprint, as we talked about in earlier episodes. And content is not just something that needs to be focused on. It really is the only thing that needs to be focused on.
How does content actually impact my Google rankings? Of course, I want people to find my business, and so good content, I'm hoping, will increase my visibility, which then increases my customers. So how does that work?
That's exactly right. And of course, the goal of all of this is to increase maybe the number of leads, or the number of new customers walking through the door, the number of patients calling for an appointment, and so on. And it all directly relates back to content. So I'll give you a real quick example. In the White Rock, South Surrey area, I think we've talked about this in past episodes. There's a little pub out here called Sawbuck's Pub. And as far as how content can help a Google ranking, we talked about how Sawbuck's offers up basically a venue, the pub, as a great place to hold a fundraiser. So if you go to Google right now and you type in South Surrey fundraising venues, a keyword that people would search on if they're looking for a venue to host their fundraiser, you'll find that Sawbuck's comes up in the number, I think, 2 or 3 position. So if that page of content on Sawbuck's site about their fundraisers and how they host fundraisers and all of that goes into the creation of that one page of content, if they didn't have that single page of content, they wouldn't be found by the people who are looking for a venue to book a fundraiser. So your content directly relates to your Google rankings.
Okay, well, we have to take a quick break, but don't go anywhere, because we will be right back with James Martell to talk more about content, why it's so important, and how you can get your rankings higher and higher. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Shopping for the lowest mortgage rate? Looking to refinance? Catch the Mortgage Newscast with Jared Dreyer on the Business Channel on localwebradio.fm.
Take control of your financial future with Sound Investing with Byron Stryloff, Senior Investment Advisor and Chartered Financial Planner with over 30 years of experience on the Business Channel on localwebradio.fm.
Buying or selling a home on the Semiahmoo Peninsula? Catch up on local market conditions on This Week in Real Estate with Lance and Connie Marples from Sutton West Coast Realty on localwebradio.fm.
All right, we are back, and I am still here with James Martell, and we are talking about content. What is it? Why is it important? And now, James, I remember that content frequency is one of the 5 important steps we talked about back in episode 3. So how often should I be adding content to my site?
A question that I bet you I've been asked 1,000 times, it seems, and it's a great one. And I guess the answer to it is the more the merrier, really, because the more topics you can cover off that relate to your business that people are searching on, the more likely they are to find you so they can do business with you. So the goal here of the internet, at least in my mind, we already know there's an audience out there searching for you. The challenge is they're searching literally, and in most businesses' cases, literally thousands and thousands of keyword phrases. I know a lot of business owners, well, they've got their 3 or 4 little pet keywords that they're ranking for, and those are great, or they wish they were ranking for in some cases. But in reality, a business is much more than a handful of keyword phrases. If you were to really sit down and think it through, and we'll talk about that in an upcoming episode, you should be ranking for at least 1,000 or 2,000 individual keyword phrases, because you just take the pub as an example. Every night of the week, they got something different going on. How many ways can you take the fundraising example? How many ways does somebody sit down and search for a fundraising venue? I mean, venue could be changed into the word hall or hotel. There's just so many different permeations of the way that could be broken down. Fundraising, fundraiser. And once you start to, you really break it down, you'll find that there's literally a couple thousand different keywords that you can rank for. So really, the more is the merrier. But I guess the other thing is we have to balance off what's practical.
Right.
And consistency is really the key to this. You don't want to be adding 2 or 3 pages of content this week and then add nothing for 3 months. The goal here is to get into a nice steady rhythm of maybe at minimum, I would suggest a page a week, so that over time you're building up a body of work of well-written articles, all on individual topics, all pointing back to your site, or actually on your site and ranking in the results.
So there's this balance between how consistent can you be while also still providing quality content.
That's true, and consistency is one of the biggest challenges I find that business owners have, is really kind of knuckling down and figuring out, how am I going to be consistent in the adding of this content? Because again, it's easy to add it this week, get all excited about it, okay, let's get this done, get it done, and then 3 weeks from now, it kind of falls off the table and it doesn't get done anymore. So we're going to share some ideas in the next session on actually how to make sure that doesn't happen, but consistency is key.
That's great. What types of content? You mentioned text, video, audio, drawings. I mean, what kinds of content should I be looking to add?
I would suggest if you're brand new and you're just getting started, that I would begin with articles or blog posts. And just for clarity, a blog post is simply an article. So if I say article or blog post, it's interchangeable. But I would start off with a blog post, and I would probably keep it in the range of 400 to 500 words. I would get focused in on creating those pages. If I don't have currently a blog on my site, I would definitely make sure that I had one installed, and there's many easy ways to do that. I know in a couple sessions we're going to talk about WordPress, and we'll explain more detail on that. At this point, I would probably recommend more than anything is just kind of get into the mindset of creating content. Once you've got the articles flowing into your site, you've got them coming in on at least a weekly basis, then I would suggest venturing off into other forms of content. Video, for example. I was just talking with a chiropractor recently who does 2 to 3 videos a week.
Wow.
Very simple. He uses his iPhone, has a little iPod stand or tripod for it. Tripod for the iPod. There you go. Or the iPhone. And he could be him just sitting in front of the camera for 2 or 3 minutes discussing a particular topic, and then he uploads that into YouTube, writes a nice little headline and description for it. That's content. It could be taking some photos and adding photos to the web. That's content. It could be creating an audio, such as we're doing here, a little podcast or a little audio newsletter of some sort, and adding that to the web. But I would begin by keeping it simple and starting off with text in the form of an article.
All right, so we'll start blogging right away. Keep it consistent. But unfortunately, we are out of time for today. But if you're the do-it-yourselfer type or have someone on your staff who can take care of all of your internet needs for you with a little guidance, you could always have them become a member of the School of Internet Marketing. It's currently just $47 a month. That's a great deal for the kind of turnaround you're going to get and increase in visibility you might get for your business. But if you'd prefer someone just take care of this for you, you can always give James's team a call at 604-542-0747. And of course, if you know someone who could benefit from the information that we have talked about here today, go ahead and share this podcast with them. I know they'll thank you for it. And James, as always, thank you so much.
Thanks, Nick.
Thank you for listening. To learn more about the School of Internet Marketing and to get access to all exclusive courses and interviews, visit theschoolofinternetmarketing.com. That's www.theschoolofinternetmarketing.com.
Feel the music from your head to your toes to your shoes. Kick 'em off. Local stories, local voices. We're localwebradio.fm.
This episode is a production of jambMEDIA. For information on hosting your own web radio show, visit jambMEDIA.com. That's www.jambmedia.com.
The opinions expressed by our guest and host on localwebradio.fm do not necessarily reflect the views of jambMEDIA or its owners. No expressed or implied opinions of any product or service should be considered an endorsement or recommendation of any kind by jambMEDIA or its owners.